Hey, welcome back to Best of the Back Roads. Today, I'm gonna take this IMS 4-gallon adventure tank and put it back on the DRZ. Let's get started. So if you tuned in last week, I went on my first spring adventure in 2023 here on the DRZ, and it was about a 100-mile trip, and that's about the limit of this gas tank. And while it looks really good, I found out that I have gas tank anxiety. It really worries me that I can't see what's in this gas tank. This thing doesn't have a really long reserve, and when you're traveling far out where I was, where I don't know where gas stations are, it just makes a problem. And while I think the bike looks beautiful with this gas tank, the new decals I did, I'm gonna go back to the old ugly 4-gallon tank. You can just see how much gas you have in it, and you get to travel further. And that's what I want to do with this DRZ, is travel and not worry. So the first thing you do is take off the 3 10mm bolts here and pull off this shroud. I just pulled off 2 of them, and I'm a little sad to see it go because I do like the decals.
So not 10 mil on the other side?
Yeah.
Is that just because you didn't put a 10 mil on, or is that?
Yeah, that's just because I ran out of 10 mils.
Oh.
I'll get this. No, it's a 9mm on this side, 10mm on the other side. Simply the fact that I ran out of replacement bolts, so the head's 9mm on this side, 10mm. But hell, it's all okay. It's all 10mm on that side and all 9mm on this side, and it'll work out. After the shrouds come off, we do have to pull off the seat so we can expose the 2 other bolts. There we go. There we go, seat comes off. We've got these 2 bolts to take off, but we've also got these hoses down here to take off the petcock. And that's what we're gonna do next, is I'm gonna take off these hoses and then undo these 2 bolts. So I'm gonna turn the petcock here to off, and that'll stop most of the fuel from coming down through here when I take this off, but I'm gonna have to get a catch pan. There we go. Well, would you hand me the catch bowl? Thank you. Here's the catch bowl. This was a light bulb. We might have bad lighting the rest of this video. I'll just move it over. One of the things you wanna make sure is these you'll need to reuse, and they tend to come off with the tank. So just make sure they didn't come off with the tank. Sometimes you put a little dab of grease in there and it'll keep them on, but because these held so nicely, I'm just gonna leave them on. The tank's off, stripped off, the seat's off. We gotta put the new tank on, or the new old tank on, the big tank on, I guess. The adventure tank will go on, but I'm gonna reuse the petcock from the original tank. For those of you that have never seen a petcock or haven't taken one out, this might be helpful. There's 2 tubes in here. This is your main tube, and that's when it is on the on position and you have fuel. When your bike starts giving out, you turn to the reserve mode, and that's this one here. And if you'll notice, it's not that much shorter, but there's a filter here and you get more gasoline. And usually it's good for about 20 miles or so, but you can definitely see the size difference. That's all for this. I've got the petcock out. I'm gonna go get the adventure tank, and we're gonna swap them out now. Put this on that. 1, 2 down in there, find the hole. There we go, we got one. All right, and then we just slide it in. There it is, it fits like a glove. Let's put these 2 nubs back on. And they came off the old tank. And then these are indented, so they fit right over top. And then these go on top, just like that. Okay, this is the hard part. This is what confuses everybody when they put on a 4-gallon IMS tank. It's not the same on both sides. One side is longer than the other. So when you're looking at the bolts, you'll have one long bolt like this and one a little bit shorter. The long bolt goes on the clutch side. So if you're astride the motorcycle, it's your left-hand side. That's the long bolt. And it's easily mixed up. A lot of people that have problems fitting their IMS tank get these switched around because you expect them to be the same and they're just not. So what you'll do is you'll just put this spacer right on in here and then slide the bolt in. Do a little fumbling around and then you'll hit it right there. Perfect. And then we'll just screw that in, do the same thing on the other side. Final step, tighten to all 4 bolts, is put the seat on. There is a clip that you put here, and mine never really worked with this SDG seat, which is an aftermarket seat, so I had to come up with another solution. Luckily, I use a tank bag, and that's what I'll put on here to tie it down. If you have the stock seat, you can get away with the clip they put with the kit. If you have any other seat, most of the time you'll either have to bend or modify that clip to make it fit the aftermarket seat. I don't know, it's really weird, and a lot of people have trouble with that fitment, and I did too. It's the downside to this tank, but you'll see when I get it all finished, you won't even know that I don't have it. I'm gonna reuse this fuel line. Doesn't appear to be anything wrong with it, so I don't think we'll get in any trouble reusing it. Sometimes you gotta get a new one. I don't think we're going to in this case. As I mentioned before, this front part here doesn't have the clip on it. I'm gonna put my tank bag and cinch it down, and that'll keep it from moving. I did the Colorado BDR and the Northeast BDR with that set up, and really it doesn't move at all. So I'm totally comfortable doing that, and it works with my aftermarket seat. And then all I have to do is fill up with gas, and I'm good to go.
Well, Mikey built a rocket.
That does it for this episode. My bike is now fitted with an IMS 4-gallon tank. It's a little bit uglier, but it's way more useful. I know how much fuel's in there, and I can go over 200 miles between fill-ups, and I'm gonna need to do that on some adventures. What do you guys think? How is it worth the ugly? I mean, it used to look like this, and you can imagine the blue tank. Now it looks like that. I know I'm gonna put stickers all over this because it's what I did last time.
Whatever he was planning, either way, and the only song. Oh, Mikey built a rocket and shot it at the moon. Watch him fly as the world spins faster and faster.